What's going on, boxing fans? Julian Williams here at the distance. Got a video for you guys. I didn't really intend to make a video today, but I was asked today a question on Facebook through the chat through Keith Lee. His channel is Keith Owns Every 109. Talks about wrestling and boxing. Both of us, we chat basically every day about whether it be wrestling, boxing, whether it be debating stuff about the sport, or him asking me questions about the sport. And he asked me a very interesting question today. I'm just gonna address it. And pretty much since it's kind of a time where there's a lot of chain videos and stuff like that, a lot of responses, kind of similar to the old days of the community. I'm just gonna start off, what could be another chain video reaction. But the question was along the lines of, what is it about boxing that makes you keeps you around the sport and makes you not get tired of it? And I just thought that it was something that just warranted a video over, and something I've just never shared with the people that have watched my channel. What about boxing does not make me tired of it? Why haven't I left the sport to look at other things like such as mixed martial arts or basketball or football, or make something else my primary sport? But overall, this is just a deep reflective video. But me, my response was, me personally, I appreciate the art form and the history of the sport. That's pretty much, as deeply as I studied the sport, that's kept me around the sport, for so long. And I'll admit, there's times that I've gotten tired of looking at the sport. I'm not gonna lie, there's times, like ever since I got on YouTube, there were a couple of moments where I just didn't even look at the fights the way that I normally did. Like around July, August, I really didn't pay attention to the fights that came on. I just didn't. Also, it's like this, when I'm watching boxing. I'm watching boxing when I'm making numerous videos, and I'm around. I'm responding to everybody on YouTube or Facebook or through personal email. That's when I'm kind of around the sport and I'm looking at everything. But when I'm not, really making videos or stuff like that, it's just kind of like a dormant period for me, to where there's not much going on and stuff like that. But something that's turned a lot of people off of the sport is politics. And politics and money are going hand in hand right now in the sport of boxing, unfortunately. And really, I'm just the type of person, and if you look at my history of my channel, I've never really cared about the politics. I just pay attention to the fights that we're going to get, whether they be the shittiest fights, whether they be the best fights, whether they be in between, whether they be action-packed, whatever it looks like on paper, I'm all there for it, because I appreciate the art form. I can go on about how hours and hours I just watched the sport and picked up little things, or looked at or the videos that I watched, and looked at all kinds of different fighters and different styles, and not only that, I get into debates every day about boxing, just every single day, and just keeps me around the sport, and I don't get bored by it. I don't get bored. Somebody approached me the other day saying Mickey Ward was a sure shot Hall of Famer, and I'm kind of like, okay, if you put Mickey Ward into the Hall of Fame, then you might as well put Arturo Gatti and Zab Judah in the Hall of Fame. And even Emmanuel Augustus. You gotta put these guys in the Hall of Fame. If you put Mickey Ward in the Hall of Fame, or if you put Mickey Ward in the Hall of Fame, you put him in the Hall of Fame, right by Arturo Gatti. And I believe that, and even though Arturo Gatti, wasn't necessarily the greatest fighter, I think personally Arturo Gatti is a Hall of Fame fighter. That's just my opinion, personally. I think he's gonna be in the Hall of Fame. And if you put Mickey Ward in the Hall of Fame, you gotta put Arturo Gatti in. But me, I just simply love the sport. Slyways had a video, and this is kind of also a little bit of a response to him as well. But he had a video of he loves and hates boxing. And me, I always have more positives than negatives I could say about the sport, because I look at things from a fan's perspective as a spectator. Everything I see in the sport is from a spectator's vision. me, I don't look at the politics. I know a lot of the guys on here, they look at the politics, they look at the rankings, like the WBC with the shitty rankings, or the IBF with their welterweight rankings, how stupid they are, or whether it be a complaint about a boxer. You know, I don't necessarily complain too much about boxers. I have my videos where I complain, but I just don't. But also, you know, at this time of year when there's fights going on, you know, whether it be with young fighters, older fighters, or journeymen, I'm always there and I'm always watching the fights. So the thing is, the thing with me is, my love for the sport as a fight fan is continuously intensifying. And you know me, I'm hitting my late 20s, or almost hitting it, and my love for the sport is growing. You know, it's growing, and it's been growing for the last like 20 years. Every time I read, every time I watch a fight, whether it be with my brother or whoever else, father, whoever else, my love for the sport continues to grow. That's just how I am. If it's like this, if I'm going to be a fan of something, I'm going to be a diehard fan of it, and that's how it is with boxing. I'm just going to be a diehard fan, and I'm always going to be. And me, I know for a fact that from this time of 2011, February 18th of 2011, all the way to the end of my life, I'm always going to be a fan of the sport. So, it's that simple. I'm always going to be a fan of the sport because it's a sport that has, basically the roots of the sport has revolved around my family for a long time. And it's like, and me, and it's like this, my children, if they want to, they could watch the sport, but it's something that just continuously runs down. It continues to run down, from generations of my family. My father watched it, both of my grandfathers watched it. Both of them were great fans of sport. My grandfather actually got me into boxing. Uncle loved boxing. So a lot of people in my family love boxing, and I was one of the people that just loved the sport along with him. And I'll even tell you a real quick story before I go, but this is how much I love the sport. And this is kind of embarrassing, but actually I had a date one time. And it was back in '07. It was Actually, I take it back. It was a prom I was supposed to go to. I was supposed to go to a prom May 5th of 2007. Back in history, Oscar De La Hoya versus Floyd Mayweather Jr. happened on that date. On that date. And at the last minute, because I thought that the matchup was a week later, on the 12th. Unfortunately, the matchup on the 12th, I forgot what it was on the 12th, because I know the week after it was Jermaine Taylor versus Corey Spinks. But that's another story, or that's actually within the same story. But I skipped out on this prom date to watch De La Hoya versus Mayweather with the guys. I really did. And then 2 weeks later, I skipped out on another date to actually watch Corey Spinks versus Jermaine Taylor. So that's just how much I love the sport, that, basically it's one of the first things in my life that I've always put it up there with, family, girlfriend and all that stuff. I've always put it up there because it's just always been around. I love the sport, and I'm continuously growing with the sport. So anyway, guys, tell me what you think. Open the video responses. But anyway, guys, that was Distance. Thanks for watching. Peace. Did that quite early.